Good evening, folks. How you doing? Let's just do a few wee adjustments. I'm going to try and remember this time that there is a chat. And yeah, let's get stuck in. So I thought I'd start by looking at chapter 2 of the adventure. For anyone who's not caught up, basically we are currently running a campaign in Capital called Crows Over Capital. It's kind of just a name I've thrown together. The party's not identified themselves as the Crows or anything, but it appealed to me. The campaign is set in a time about 2 years before the Chain of Acheron reached Capital, and it's the period leading up to and around the assassination of the Prince. So the first session of this campaign was the Lilac Night, and the subsequent sessions have been kind of existing in the sort of quarantine that I presume happened, or I've made canonical to my game, that when a bunch of revenants were created on Lilac Night, they were then quarantined in the Dead City for about 3 months, until everyone was sure it wasn't going to spread and become like some sort of plague. So what that meant for our group is we had a lot of downtime sessions, we had a couple of plots that I wasn't even planning to run that played out. By really going after some of the subplots, we've ended up bumping into things like war dogs, and like Ajax's head sort of appeared. Not literally, but this sort of presence in the world has appeared. But at the same time, I am designing a publishable adventure of this campaign as well. So I'm almost designing the adventure, then running it. As more, I was always going to run the campaign, but this way I get to also have a nice, pretty adventure. So, for example, I've had this prepared for ages, and the Seas Pitch To and Fro, which is a follow-up to the Lilac Night, which is in the published version. The group is hired by a member, someone called Mantis, a goblin who's a member of the Pitch. So the Seas Pitch To and Fro is the heroes recovering from the Lilac Night in the quarantine and going, let's look into that guy that hired us to get involved in this, because there's probably some more information to learn there. So we have that adventure. In our version, everyone had different reasons to be there. So Rolf, one of our tactician, worked with the rival group, the Keys, and again there's an adventure called the Handsome Devil where you can go pursue the Keys. So the canonical or the published version will be you want to look into the people who were trying to prevent you doing what you wanted to do in the Lilac Night. Takes you on that adventure. We also had a side adventure for one of our elementalists who wanted to find out who'd sent her there, and it basically flowed back to House Alvaro. That's not what I'm going to put in this, because I think it just creates a little bit too much confusion. But we'll see later on. I may have to write something in. And the last one was one of our heroes comes from the Imperial University, one of the colleges there. An adventure called The Skies Are Sapphire, so that's that one there, which I've written the past week and run in the past week, although a few little improvements to make to that. Similarly, so that one will lead, and it basically points at the same it points to two conclusions, which are the same conclusions as the Handsome Devil and the Seas Pitch To and Fro come to. So the idea is that any of these adventures are leads that the players might want to follow, and if they do, it leads them to the next two adventures, either of which can lead into the third. And then the third will branch out again, and then it'll branch back in again, depending on the plot and what people pick. So, long way of saying, if you do the Seas Pitch To and Fro, it points you to the Military Academy, which is the adventure Strategic Manoeuvres, which I've not yet written because we've not done the Seas Pitch To and Fro yet. If you do the Handsome Devil, which we have run, it points you to Risk and Reward, which is basically going to the Fulcrum headquarters, which is what we're going to look at tonight, because as of tomorrow, I'm running. We've not played the Seas Pitch To and Fro, therefore it can't lead into the Strategic Manoeuvres, but we have played both The Skies Are Sapphire and the Handsome Devil, which point at the Fulcrum, or can point at the Fulcrum, so I need to have that prepared. We might go to the Seas Pitch To and Fro tomorrow, we might go to the Risk Reward. So that's the plan for tonight. So So I'm going to read a little bit of the setup, and then I'm going to move down, start a new new page, and we're going to build the adventure. And I'm going to draw on different things. You can see I've got a few tabs, or you will see I've got a few tabs here. Talking just from the MCDM wiki. I think there's a new wiki in place, but we will get there. So first I'm just going to shrink myself down here. I'm tiny. Okay, so that's way too big. That's about right. Just need to worry too much about the comments at the side. Just basically balancing questions. So chapter 2 is the Great Game. As they recover from the events of the Lilac Night, the heroes may seek answers to the questions of what went down that night. This chapter presents an array of adventures that may reveal clues as to the motives and culprits behind that night. That's why reading things aloud helps. The world says that Lady Valletta is responsible, but in capital things are really that simple. So I'm just going to highlight the word night and then hope I remember why I did it in different shades of red. Add a comment. Read aloud too many nights. So we're looking for this adventure here, Risk and Reward. This adventure is for heroes who have discovered that the Fulcrum hired the keys and wish to investigate further. So let's go way down here. We'll come past that. That needs to be finished off. And we'll go to Risk and Reward. Now, I'm not sure how well you guys can see it, but I might zoom in a little bit more. I don't zoom in too far for my own part because I like having... Well, that might be better. Maybe better for you guys. I like having a lot of space on the side. Don't ask me why. Is that too much? It does make it harder to find things, but we'll say for now because it's a bit easier for you guys to see. So, Risk and Reward. So this is just how I do a published thing anyway. I'll look at what's my structure. So I've got a synopsis, and then 3 acts, and this little bit here. So we'll copy that. And come on down to here. This is a heading 1, I believe. Let's double check. Nope, it should be a title. So I'll try to focus too much on formatting, but a little bit doesn't hurt. So Risk and Reward is an adventure optimized for 5 first level heroes that should take 46 hours to complete. The 46 hours to complete, to me, that is actually for my group probably about 2 sessions, and thus far has been roughly right. This I would view as a rough guide. What I will say is that is going to be 2nd level heroes, because what I've been doing with the, again, this is very loose. If I was, when I got published, I'll do a bit more detail. I'll rebalance the encounters and stuff, but basically if I can make sure each encounter in the first, say 3, so Imperial College, Skies of Sapphire, the Handsome Devil, or the Seas Pitch to and Fro, everyone's going to play through the Lilac Night, so they've probably got about halfway to level 2. Once they start ticking off these adventures, which they won't necessarily do them all, my party has, but I wouldn't say they're a typical party, but maybe there is no typical party, which means everyone does do that. So it's hard to recommend a level and to keep everything and say, like, if they're this level to this level to this. There has to be an element of the director going, oh, my players are this level, this says it's for this level, I'm going to buff up a little bit. I think obviously it will vary, but I think going from one level to the next only adds 15 to your encounter value, and that'll be true for every level you go up. And obviously depends on what, without explaining too much about the system, you take your encounter value, and then easy is like 75% of that value, standard's 100%, hard might be 115%. So you're not talking massive swings from level to level anyway. But I think by the time someone reaches Risk and Reward, they have to have at least done 2 previous adventures. And if they chose to respite in the middle, they might be level 2. So they could be level 1, They're unlikely to be level 3. So this one, what I'll probably do is I'll balance it for level 2, and it means this might just be a couple of hard encounters if you've managed to stay level 1. But if you've managed to stay level 1, you probably have quite a lot of victories, which is going to make things a bit tougher, and a bit easier for you anyway. So I'm going to view this adventure as you are 2nd level. And the theory that I'm working off so far is, if I take the level it's meant for and I make all the encounters standard or hard, then if you happen to be over leveled, that should make them roughly standard and easy. So we're going to say that's 2nd level. These 46 hours complete. We've got our adventure synopsis, which we will alter and add to as we go through. But I like this because you want to open an adventure and know what it's about and know what it's going to be covering. I remember when I was doing a lot of writing research, the concept around people, a blurb versus a summary, or the specific word for it's not a summary. Means you basically have a crusher plot. Your publisher, your agent, don't need the pitch on the book. They don't need to be teased. They need to know exactly what happens. It's the same with the synopsis. Your adventure, so your director doesn't need a blurb or a little pitch. They need what actually happens in the adventure. So what actually happens in this adventure? To be honest with you, I don't know yet, but I know a few broad strokes. In this adventure, players will visit the Cathedral of Saint Bonagracia, because that is the home of the Fulcrum, where they will encounter the headquarters of the Fulcrum. Not the Fulton, the Fulcrum. Or is it my keyboard? No, just me. Headquarters of the Fulcrum. They will... Now, I don't think they're going to meet Lady Shiromi. I think they're not important enough. So they're 1st or 2nd level characters. So they're about a 4th level D&D PC. One of them has a really high renown, but on balance, you should only have 1 or 2 renown. So what I do is I look at the rules then, which I do have open, and I would like to put a mechanical system in place for this adventure that does go off your renown and says, well, certain things happen when you reach certain renown levels. I'm not sure yet if that makes sense, but what I do think is useful is looking at the negotiation system in the Draw Steel rules and seeing who do you impress at the renown you're at. So if you're at 1 renown, you can impress a commoner, a shop owner, a brigand, or a brigand leader. If you're at 2 renown, you can impress a knight, a guildmaster, a professor. So that to me says you're probably always operating at 1 above this. So if you're impressing a knight, you're more important than a knight, because you're famous to them, or you're someone to take seriously. So you could say you're leveled with, right? But I think you're probably just slightly above. So for all I know, one of the characters has 5 renown, which means they're probably at the level of a counter or warlord for renown. A guildmaster is the level of a duke, so that's like 8 renown. So they're already either most renowned character is well below that. So I don't think they can use button and get a meeting with. Now I do think you can get a meeting with a guild leader more easily than a noble house leader, but I think they're going to meet a representative. Meet representative of Lady Shiromi. Now, what are they actually there for? This is going to be a lot of mistyping. And this suppose I can just chuck here as a bullet point list anyway. I normally wouldn't write in the edit. I would like this kind of format. I'd normally put it Arial and not 2 columns, but we'll see where we're going for now. So back to this adventure. This adventure is about meeting the Fulcrum. That's a goal of the director. So I guess introducing meeting the Fulcrum. It's asking the Fulcrum why they hired the keys to protect the device. So the device was used to try and destabilize Lady Valletta's ritual. So the ritual did fail, so there's a certain element of did it work? Did the device work at disrupting it? But that's basically it. I think on a level as well, because the players, at least my players, know why the Fulcrum has an interest in this. Because that ritual was disrupted, because Duke Maximo didn't return, the Prince has realised House Valletta are to an extent a lost cause. So he needed funds, he turned to the Fulcrum, and he took all their money to let the Fulcrum and two other guilds buy their way onto the council. So we kind of know why the Fulcrum wanted that to fail, so why they do it. So the other aspect is, like, if you've gone through the Imperial College, why did the Fulcrum let the device into capital? Which obviously, this is answered by this. If you got that bit of information, or did they? So I think, well, what am I hoping to achieve with this? Well, I want the players to go from this to trying to get to see Lady Hiromi herself or someone similarly important. Because we're going to have this idea they bounce off bureaucrats. So we want them to go to someone particular. In this case, we want to go to Lord Kashmir's ball. So Lord Kashmir is the head of the RASP. He's not a primary player in this campaign. Or in the plot. He's not got skin in the game. He's not particularly working with anyone. Though he might in the back half. I might have a theory for what happens later on. The structure I would like this whole campaign to have would be everyone goes to Lord Kashmir's ball. That's the point that every plotline takes you to. Pardon me. And depending on what you're following, what you're looking into, you can find out one of two bits of information. Ideally not both, but I could be wrong. And that the information I want them to discover is that Lord Alvaro wants to kill the prince, or Lady Shiromi wants to kill the prince. Now, after doing some research earlier, I know that's actually very definitely non-canon, but I can spin it. Not spin it, it's my campaign, I can do it like. I think it's reasonable that for all, in hindsight, Lady Shiromi might think, oh god, I wish we hadn't killed the prince. I think right now she's like, well, the prince has the power to take that back, to take the thing he gave us away. Although it would actually be really, see, this ideas. It might be fun if she's actually trying to protect the prince. And that could put the players on one of two sides. But then that's the one plot. There's not really two different plots coming in there. I need to think later on. But we need to get him to Lord Kashmir's ball. So they're going to meet the Fulcrum. They're going to see what the Fulcrum's about, because we're going to do Act 1. So this isn't done yet, so I'm going to leave that there. Act 1, the cathedral. And I also need to do a little scene in this, so I'm going to add this here. Azrael speaks to priests of Saint Bonagratia about his fate. So that's a specific to our campaign. Wouldn't go in the overall adventure, but for my campaign, our fate storm cleric is from the Astral Sea. There's not a church to his god here, so he's looking for the next best thing. And I've told that player that if they go to the Cathedral of Saint Bonagratia, which they're intended to do anyway, they can speak to a priest there. So that's something to note. Heading 1, and I'm consistently doing this since I learned how to do it. There we go. Just try to keep it all tidy so I have less to do later on, but I can always come back and fix it all. Whoops, it isn't. There we go. And that's right as well. Let's do the same Bonagratia. So the players are going to show up. outside. So do I have them something happen to the way out? So generally, my philosophy, which I'm willing to change on or willing to be unsure of, is that each campaign or each adventure in Drossel's built around three things: combat, negotiation, and montage. Now, I'm already sensing that I'm overusing these a little bit, so maybe it can't be as concrete as that. But combat, montage, negotiation. Just from where I'm standing right now, which of those do I think is the most likely to have to deal with? Here. They're not going to go to war with the Fulcrum, so combat looks kind of out. But it is also draw steel, so combat I would say is about half the game. So we may have to go with a random encounter that could happen either in the cathedral or out and about. So maybe en route. So what I would do for there is think, well, do I need the combat? Probably. Let's grab the monsters book and have a quick skim and see if anything leaps out from the list as something that you'd think that would be on a capital street or that could be in a church. So looking around, werewolves, war dogs, no. Voiceless talkers, no. Liches, no. Undead? Well, there you go. Straight off the bat, I'm thinking my players in particular might be working with Lady Valletta, but Lady Valletta might absolutely think the Fulcrum are 100% responsible for this. I'm going to send some... I'm now a vampire queen. I'm going to send some enemies to go mess with the Fulcrum. And I actually think that is a really good idea. Now, where my brain's going right now is if there's some kind of attack... let's see. Undead attack the church. Well, the church should be good at fighting undead anyway, but players earn a meeting with an important functionary, or the person turning them away now wants to help. And that has got as the result of a negotiation without having to have a negotiation. And I do find people's tolerance for combat is much higher. So that looks great. I'm going to have a continuing little skim. So, Time Raiders, no. Raiden Whites, no. Orcs, no. Ogres, again, if there's some kind of mercenary hustle, I can see ogres. But Minotaurs, Lizardfolk, Lightbenders, Kobolds, Humans, even hags, no. All different kinds of elf. Dwarves, I could maybe see some kind of conflict with the dwarves because there's the layers underneath the city. But generally, no. None of the monsters we have just now are really fit in the city streets. Demons, again, wouldn't be a bad idea, but don't necessarily fit the vibe. Whereas undead come from the Dead Lady do. Fossil Crypt doesn't look good either. So if we want the combat, which I think we do now, we're looking at the undead. And we're looking at first echelon undead. Now, I'll obviously write a lot more prose to link all this up as we play, or as I'm filling out the thing. But what I'm thinking is, I have 5 second level players. So for the monster book, you get 12 EV per player. So 5 times 12 is 60, plus 3 per player. For a second level, so that's 75. Am I going wrong there? 5 times 18, 75. Let me just consult the calculator. 5 times 15 is 75, yeah. But they're second level, so they're not. No, yeah. So 5 times 18 is 90. Yeah, just doubt myself now. So an EV budget of 90. Now this is the. So think back to 5e again. Someone who wrote a lot of 5e adventures. I was always of the opinion you're better throwing a big massive encounter because generally folk will rest right after. In this game, I definitely want resting to have some kind of escalating. It does. If you respite, it's a big deal. Your victories go to 0. I, in this campaign in particular, and probably many of my campaigns, will want each respite you take to start escalating the threat level, the tension of the adventure. I'm not sure I'm going to do that yet, but I do want that to happen. So I don't necessarily want to be like, oh, every encounter is going to be hard. If there's only one encounter, it's a hard encounter. But I do want to ask myself, what is the point / what do I want? What makes sense? So I wanted in the Imperial College adventure, in the Skies of Sapphire, I threw some elementals in there as an easy encounter or standard. I want players to do something, hack through this, feel good, get a victory, move on. This one, I think we want a tougher fight. I think we want something pretty solid. So I might be inclined to go for a hard combat. But something else that determines it quite a lot is finding the right monster and then working out what that combat looks like. So for example, I probably want, if I want a standard encounter which is 100%, I want 4 times 15. Gets me to 60. Oh, I'm being dumb. So roughly in a perfect world, I want five times 18. So let's look at what my options are for a group of that. So if I look at minions for... Okay, so minions, we have Shades. Could be interesting. Crawling Claws, Decrepit Skeletons, and Rotting Zombies. They're all, you're talking like tiny EVs. So a group of 5 actually of these would make up one of our groups. So look at the options. You've got Spectres as well, Skeletons, an Umbral Stalker, whatever that is, sounds creepy. A White, and then a Zombie, and then a Ghost. I wonder... Okay, here's where my brain's going straight away. The EV of the Ghost, which is the leader, and we've not played Millions campaigns this game, I'm quite happy to throw out really good encounters every time. Really tough encounters. So I think one of these is worth 20, which we'll rob from somewhere else. So say this is 16. And it's a Ghost. Who'll be someone... recognisably... deniably Valletta. What I mean by that, the point is this person's sending a message. Lady Valletta's sending a message to the Fulcrum. You are touchable, but she doesn't want it necessarily to be. She wants a cat's paw. She wants it to be someone who could have a grudge enemy. So take it recognisably. Someone deniably Valletta, but who also sends a message. So we'll come back to that. I don't know who that character is. I'll need to invent them. Given the group of 16 here, I think it makes sense to be a wholly incorporeal group. So an Ambush Stalker is worth 9, so we can get 2 in a group. They're incorporeal. They're an Ambusher as well. A Spectre is a Hexer, worth 7. So we've got a lot to spend to make a challenge here. But I think that's maybe a good thing. So let's see. Always make an easier encounter. That may be the way to go. But a Shade. I think a Shade is the easiest straightforward thing. 5 Shades gets us to 15, leaving us 1. So I'm going to say 5 Shades. And bump this up by 1 to 19. We'll take the 20 away here. This is already looking like a huge encounter. So we'll go back to the Ghost. What does the Ghost do for its allies? So it gives surges against things. It lets their allies move. Let's see. It's got villain actions as well. I probably need to start structuring a little bit differently so it's not always villain actions, but it's tricky with it. With an intrigue-heavy campaign, there's not going to be combat all the time, and if it is, it's not going to be like fighting the same enemies until you beat the boss. So looking at the abilities on here, interesting. So it throws things about, levitates enemies. and it's got a Banshee Whale. That's really cool. It's a really cool creature. So the Ghost is very cool. The Umbral Stalker can use it's 9, and the Spectre uses 7. So I think I'm going to really struggle to make a hard encounter at these EVs. So we may have to just throw a lot of minions around. So let's see. We could do it this way so we know what we're left with. So a group should be 1 to 2 times a player's value, which is where the 18 was coming from. So if I want to say a Spectre, it's going to be Spectre 12. And an Umbral Stalker. Stalker is going to leave us with 11. Nope, I can't count. 9. And there we go. So a Spectre is a Hexer. Weakens people it attacks. It can become invisible, which is cool. Umbral Stalker, it's very mobile. It can create darkness. Not super ambushy as far as I can see. We are just trying to avoid corporeal undead though, so even looking at the corporeal undead, it's all kind of similar size. So I think we want an Umbral Stalker, and then that remaining 9 is 3 shades. So we go Umbral Stalker, leading 3 shades. We go and Umbral Stalker, shades. We see. Let's go. We can go Ghost because it's gonna have a name. That one. Leading 3 shades, and that gives you a group. Oh, so 9, 9, 18. A Spectre leading again, leading shades. I think we should have more Spectres. I think 3 shades, 5 shades. 27. Now the Umbral Stalker's got a lot of effects on it, so my instinct is to not use so many of those. Although, they're a great number. I think we'll go for 2 Umbral Stalkers. 2 Umbral Stalkers. Because that's also 18. And then we've got 12 left. No, that's not that. This was the wrong figure. We've got 12 left to spend. Now, that could get me 2 more Spectres. So I'm going to put 3 Spectres. This was incorrect as well. So I'm just going to do the recount and see what we're looking at like there. So okay. So 15. Let's do add up. So 15 plus 21 plus 18 plus 18 plus 20 gets to 92, which is going to be around 100% of 90. It's going to be a standard encounter. This is a lot, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10, 15 creatures. So it's going to be we need a big map for this, which I think we're more than capable of. So let's see. Okay, so we'll take that a little bit and see. Well, so 5 shades, 3 Spectres. Now I can't quite recall if it the cap. But I think captain abilities are if the captain attacks someone adjacent to a minion, they get an edge, and I think the minions move further if they have a captain. So it costs us very little to say. There's 2 spectres here, and there's one spectre leading 5 shades. Or an nope, a spectre. Now we could shuffle this up and we could have some minions with the ghost and make that a particularly tough group to go. We have the 2 Umble Stalkers split up, but I think roughly that looks fine. So we're around 82, we're a standard encounter. Means probably an easy encounter if we find someone rocking up here to level 3, but we also know it's going to be a hard encounter if anyone happens to be level 1. So let's just, for example, say these were level 1 players. We're looking at 75, and we've got 92. So 75 divided by 92. Nope, that's the wrong way around. 92 divided by 75 times 100. You're looking at a hard encounter. That's 123% of the value. So I think this is the right sweet spot to be in for the encounter. As a standard encounter, the players are only going to get 1 victory from it. If they're under-leveled, then they'll get another one. But this should happen at a specific moment. And we could have several waves if we wanted. But I think, considering the limitations, which is incorporeal, we don't want to have too many. And even if we look up a level, yeah, everything's level 4, so don't want to go, well, so because we're talking level 2 players, we could use second echelon monsters. So let's see what there is in level 4 creatures. Oh, all the second echelons level 4. So we could have a Wraith. We could have a... Oh, that's it. The only incorporeal thing at the next level is a Wraith. Now, Wraith of the Hexer, and this was 12, I think, or 14. So I'm going to take a gamble here, and I'm going to say we've got a Wraith here as well. And we're going to make this look a bit scarier, but if we just do the calculation again, so this group is going to be 7 plus 15 is 22. So between 1 and 2 players, so between 18 and 36. The Wraith is 13, so nowhere near the value of 1 player, so this might be too small a group. So 3 shades would be 9 plus 9, so 18. 2 Umble Stalkers is 18, and the Ghost is a 20. Now, you can go to fewer groups than you have players, which might bump a few of these up if we spread them out. Now, there's no numbers here that I would automatically add, other than I think you could give an Umble Stalker to the Wraith and to the Ghost, and suddenly you're talking 21, 29. This means fewer groups. There we go. So again, our EV's down to 90. I think, did I take away the things I was going to take away? Then questioning myself. Yeah, I took away 2 spectres. So a spectre leading 5 shades. So that is 7 plus 15 is 22. A Wraith and Umble Stalker gets us to 22. Umble Stalker leading 3 shades gets to 18. Have I left 2 Umble Stalkers? Yeah, so take away the 2 Umble Stalkers. A Ghost and Umble Stalker, that's 20 and 9 is 29. So basically got 29 plus 18 is 47. 47 plus 22 is 79, plus 22 is 91. Somewhere my maths is wrong, but I can live with it. That's 22, 22 is 44. Plus 18 is 62. Plus 30 minus 1. 91. Yeah, see, I know my mental maths has gone wrong. So, let's see what we've got. That looks like again, it's a standard encounter. It's nothing too dangerous, too deadly. But it looks like it could be a really interesting encounter, especially with this Wraith, which is, like I said, a tougher monster. Too tough, theoretically, for a first level character, but for our second level players, just within reach. So this would be particularly nasty. 4 groups means they're all a bit more than a player's worth. So when they go, you're going to feel those turns. So I'm quite happy with that. We'll follow our encounter building guidelines. Let's have a quick look. So I looked at the monsters. Let's just double check the guidelines and see if there's anything we've forgotten. So we determined our EV, which was 90. We're not factoring victories because this is going to be the very start and it takes up to 3 victories to impact. The encounter budget between 90 and 110%, standard 91. Look at the creature level. So the level of the Wraith is 4, so that's within 2 of second level, and the rest are all 1, so that's within 2 as well. Number of creatures. Now, different number of stat blocks. We don't want to have 5 creatures per hero, so we want less than 25. We have well less than 25. We want to use more than 6 different stat blocks. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stat blocks. That's fine. The star of the show is the ghost. So we have, if you want creatures to stick around and leave a lasting impression in the combat encounter, make it a hard encounter and choose a leader or solo with an EV that's at least half the encounter budget to be the star of the show. I think this advice might be getting revised. In essence, there's nothing that would be the right level for this. So half the EV value would be 45. This is not that. But we could make this group that. So we can pull a few things from different places and make this a bulkier group. That's an option. But I think on balance, the Wraith itself is going to be a little bit of a challenge, and the Ghost will be a challenge. And I think when we construct that into an encounter with a map, it's going to be quite different. Finally, build initiative groups. Once you have a creature selected, you'll put them together in initiative groups. All creatures in the same initiative group act in the same turn. It's not hard and fast feel. You keep the following guideline in mind as you build initiative groups. The total EV of an initiative group should be between the encounter worth of 1 or 2 heroes, so between 18 and 36. It's okay to have one group with total EV less than that. It's okay to have one group worth more than 2 heroes as long as it consists of a single creature or the heroes have racked up a lot of victories. How many initiative groups? Without a solo creature, you want to have as many initiative groups as there are heroes, plus or minus 2. So I want to be effective on my turns. 4 seems like the right number. If we lose initiative, we'll go after every player. And if we win initiative, then there'll be a couple of them left at the end of the round, which is fine. So I'm not worried about this too much just now. The name of this person doesn't matter to me. I'm envisioning where this happens in the whole adventure. So I want to continue on, and I'm going to say Act 2, which is going to be another header, and don't probably the Dead Rising or something is without being too cliche. So we want part 2 to be, what's the theme? So our theme is risk and reward. So that basically we want the cathedral, and then we're looking for something that means risk, which is the undead, and then Act 3. Whoops. It's gonna be Act 3. Is the thing that means reward. Now again, this is just my own feeling. I think we need more than an encounter. I don't think we need multiple encounters. We could, but if you think of it as we're wanting victories in these adventures, we need a puzzle of some kind, or we need a negotiation, or we need a montage. Again, this is where I come back to the synopsis because now we're thinking about the order of operations, what all can happen. And if not enough can happen, we need to create new ways for things to happen. So, they're going to meet a representative of Shinomi who is reluctant to answer any questions. When the church comes under attack from undead, the heroes must keep the functionary alive. In return, now, is she willing to negotiate because her life's been saved? That creates her negotiation, or is she willing to negotiate because of that, or does she want something from it? The thing with negotiations is the players aren't necessarily always offering something. They're offering something, but if they've already kind of owe the players one, I don't know if that's the best environment for a negotiation. But I wonder if you need to negotiate into meeting the functionary. At which case, tells the players about the heroes. Tells the heroes which can, and points them towards. That's only true advice, but towards Lord Kashmir's ball. So let's see. Apologies. Big yawn. Okay. So go back to our questions. How are we answering our questions? So players come in. This is the fulcrum, right? What are your questions? And they go, we want to know why they did what they did. They walk in, they find something like a casino, to be honest, inside the church, risking the saint of risking gambling. So it's going to be a lot of that. We know Adriel's going to try and speak to one of the priests about fate, and they're probably going to get something. He's going to get information, frankly, I want him to have, but through the lens of a gambler. Who'll probably present two options and say what the risks involved are. Let's see. Right, I'll be back in a moment. Talk amongst yourself, folks. Hello, folks. Okay. So where were we? Risk and reward. So we were thinking, how do people get? So they come in the front door, they see a gambling den, and they realize it's a church, and they chat around. And their main goal is to speak to someone important at Fulcrum and find out why they were doing these things. So we need our politician. So let's see. Please show me. Not a lot of info. Sarah's Guild. Let's see. I was so sure there was another named. Let's see. Ooh, I have an idea. So I thought it was another named person that we could use. I think I'm just gonna make someone up. So let's see. Come on here. So, please attend the church. Okay. So back into our ideas, we're going to come up with a character who is a. We come up with someone who's a priest first of all. Priest, and they are the barrier to reaching the Fulcrum because they're like, hey, you don't have enough right to be here. But I suppose anyone can probably speak to the Fulcrum, so maybe priest / I don't know, gambler. Yeah. Reaching. Fulcrum. We've then got the player who can speak for the Fulcrum. It's really hard to predict what your players will ask, but we do have these two questions. So, why they had the keys? So it's kind of asking what they had. So well, I start scratching my head here, and I start to wonder: have I just set up a totally daft scenario? Will they not want to know anymore? I guess the key is things need to happen for them to want more. So I think we need to have an argument between Verona and the Fulcrum. And we also need to have Fulcrum doing something good. So in my particular party, one of our players already quite likes Fulcrum, but we want to give them something, some kind of AMS or some kind of charity or equality work. We've also got the gold buttons, which is the police force. Okay. Things are actually going to happen in an order. So the players are going to come to, so then the stays, they're going to come to an interesting part of it, a well-to-do part. They're going to get a police check. No, they're not, because they're allowed to carry weapons in the stays. Let's say police check for some reason. Police check, enthusiastic officer, saved by Fulcrum official from Capello Park. So Capello Park's where the players are on. So the party come to this area. They get a police check. Someone's like, why you carry weapons? It's not so much you can't in the stays, but you couldn't in the rest of the city. So this person's kind of like, you look up to no good. Who's the alien? Someone kind of like really trying to see what they can figure out. Or this was concrete until I had an or a journalist is driven off by the gold buttons, police officers. Fulcrum is good, is the vibe. Then they go to the cathedral, and the vibe needs to be that they're wealthy, opportunity to gamble. Please take wagers. And then you get an argument between Navy and Customs. Okay. And then where are we up to? They hear an argument, maybe they intervene, maybe they speak in the argument. And then they probably approach someone they want to speak to the fulcrum. I'm just trying to think of a way this could be either a montage or a negotiation. I'm sticking to my philosophy. Probably a lot of queuing. Asking the players to wait, maybe. I feel like we're missing something fundamental from the adventure, because the whole adventure can't go by with one combat, therefore one victory. It doesn't feel like a combat adventure either. Maybe these are just short adventures that don't necessarily have the full structure, but I think we can do something. I just need to figure out what. So we'll sort that on our list. Sorting that. Let's invent some characters. What is the medieval Italian for priest? Padre. Let's look at something a bit more. Don. I think I like the connotation there. Yeah, so call. Okay, so now I need a town Spanish name. I'm gonna just pluck a couple of favourites off the top of my head. Pluton sounds so weird. Yes, Pluton. Don Andres. We're not going too deep here. Andres. Ennio. There we go. And then let's give him dialogue. Sorry, folks, just realising I'm running short of time to try to stitch a few thoughts together. So, this priest is someone they meet, they talk to, they learn a bit about the fulcrum, and they then get delayed or something happens. So check. Look for. We want to be successful getting a meeting, so we're looking at success with consequence success or success with reward. I think that's easy. Or medium would be the option of failure, but if they fail to get a meeting, they're kind of stuck. So easy. Meeting in Fulcrum offices. When he is attacked. Negotiations is when the players want something and the person won't give it. I wonder if we need extra dynamic and extra bit of information for the players to get their teeth into and to want something. So what information is he going to give them? He's going to give them he doesn't know anything, but he's going to give them the right to go through his files. Tact. Montage. Go through the files. Find evidence. Keys and the fulcrum. That gives them an opportunity to get another victory under their belt, and learn about Viola. Okay, I think I have it in my head. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this together in the synopsis, and then I'm going to come through, tidy it all up, and expand it with prose. So in this adventure, players will visit the Cathedral of St. Bonagratia, the headquarters of the Fulcrum. They will navigate the dangers of the politics of the docks. Eager journalists and zealous guards. To reach the cathedral. where they will gain an insight. He denies any accusation. Office. Jesus. So while in his office, the heroes will save him from an attack by Lady Valletta's undead. This, okay, I'll probably do this episode, but this will prompt him to allow them to search the records. And I can think of a bunch of different things that could be challenges there. So you've got obviously the volume and the filing system, and people getting caught, people trying to hide information. So I can have a bunch of skills that would be applicable in roles they can make. So search the Fulcrum's files. Evidence of collusion. If they can find it, they can can they take the evidence? They must take it to okay, so they can find it. They can confront Lady Shiromi, or another Privy Council with it. Whoops, we have a connection issue there. Let's see. Oops. That's why we're having streaming issues, folks. So I'll call that there. We're near enough at the end. So there we go. So if they can confront Lady Shiromi with that information, Enyo points them towards Lord Cashmere's ball. So we have, I can see on the table there, 2 possible victories. You've got the combat and the montage. I might be able to swing a negotiation in there as well. But the important thing is they need to come away with more reasons to keep looking, which would be the evidence, and also the information about Lord Cashmere's ball, which I think we can achieve. It just needs laid out a bit better. As with previous incarnations or previous entries in this adventure, I will be sharing them. At one point, obviously, you'll be able to buy the adventure, but for now, I've been posting them in the Draw Steel Discord, and also in a couple of other places, just for people to give feedback, to have a try out and see what they like. Same goes for here. If you have anything about this video, or anything about the adventure you want to talk about, or any thoughts, any ideas, I can't promise to take them, but I can definitely promise I'll have a look at them. And yeah, and we'll hopefully try and get these connection issues resolved for next time. But until then, folks, cheers.